Hello everybody, I would like to make a video to share my experiences of being able to communicate by simplex with my HT, the Anytone 878 UV2 Plus. Well, I am very happy and very impressed on how great this radio sounds. I had good reports that this radio sounds pretty good. I had other people tell me that it's nice and loud and clear when I'm communicating with it through the repeater. But today I want to talk to you about when I made a contact with simplex. I was able to communicate in the line of sight. I was able to communicate up to 8 miles. And that right there is pretty impressive. That I was able to talk and communicate up to 7 miles, 7 to 8 miles, and that's actually not bad. That's actually pretty decent for an HT. So it's proven that you can get out on simplex. 146.520 simplex, and the great thing about this radio is it's got a good mic gain on it. It can put out about 7 watts of power. But that mic gain is what really matters. That mic gain is what gets you out, and it allows you other people to be able to hear you, because what it does is that it enhances your communications. Having a good miking on a radio is what really matters, because that miking boosts the modulation of the microphone. It makes your voice a lot louder, so it gets over all that noise. And I'm very impressed on how good and how far I was able to talk on simplex. And 8 miles is pretty far. That's actually pretty far. I mean, it's not too far, but it's pretty decent for an HT. And that's what I would like to share. It's what I wanted to share my experience I had on my experience of talking on simplex. So having a radio like this is good. And if you're on like a second, if you go to like a second story in like an apartment building, or if you have an upstairs in your apartment, go up to the highest level in your apartment, because height also helps your communications. It helps get your communications out further. But between 7 and 8 miles, I can say that is pretty decent for a radio like this, with just a little simple rubber duck antenna. And I'm able to talk 8 miles. I'm able to get out 8 miles in the line of sight. If it's all open area, I can talk 8 miles. But I cannot imagine if I was up on like a high mountain in a line of sight in a wide open area. I imagine I can talk even further than 8 miles. I bet you I can go probably 15 to 20 miles on the mountaintop, or maybe even further than that. Maybe even 30 or 40 miles. It just depends also on how high you are. It also depends on it depends on the propagations. If the propagations are just right, that will also help carry your signal a little bit further. And you can these are very short range radios, but if the propagations are just right, you can hit one of those. You can hit a an air pocket that's in then it's up in the sky, like about cloud level. You could hit an air pocket, and sometimes it can be used as a reflector that will bounce your signal off of the cloud or off of the air pocket in the sky. And sometimes you can bounce off of them like reflectors with just a little simple HT radio like this. And sometimes if the propagations are right, you can talk even further. But I can say I cannot be more excited about reaching 8 miles from here, from Herkimer, New York, all the way over into Little Falls, New York. I was able to make a contact, and that's about 8 miles, roughly 8 miles. And it's only and when I made that contact, it was only simplex only, meaning it was radio to radio. That is very exciting to be able to make contact from radio to radio without needing a repeater or going through any type of open spot or hot spot networks. Simplex is just straight up going over the air, over the frequency, and over the airwaves, radio to radio. That's how simplex works. But yeah, I was very, very happy when I made that contact. And it just depends on the propagations. It depends on the height. It depends on, if the person that you're talking to is within the line of sight. If you're in an open area where you're not being surrounded by, getting into mountains, getting in the way, and trees and buildings and other structures getting in the way, then you can talk to quite a far distance. You can talk to quite far on these type of radios, as long as the propagations are just right, and as long as you have that mic gain turned up on your radio, that will help carry your voice over the noise. It'll get your voice over all that noise. So it's a clean, clear, strong signal that you're putting out when you're keying in the microphone. So it's pretty good communications. That's why I recommend people, if you want to get your amateur radio license, even just getting a technician's license, you're able to talk on a radio like this, the HT radio like this. And you can be able to communicate and talk up to 8 miles. That is actually pretty good coverage. If you can talk to somebody up to 8 miles, that's pretty good open coverage. And even getting onto a repeater. The repeater, our repeater, is about, I think, 8 or 9, 10 miles away. And I'm able to hit that repeater without any problems. I'm able to get into it and get onto that repeater. And what's great about a repeater is that it will allow you to talk even further. You can talk 40, 50, 60 miles. That's what's great about a repeater, is that it will carry your signal even further. And if propagations are even good, your signal from that repeater will make you go even further. We had people calling in on our repeater all the way in other counties. We actually had somebody we actually had somebody reach our repeater that was all the way in Evanston, New York. Somebody was able to call and hit it from way over there. And I think there was even one time that I talked to somebody that was on a mountain, and they were able to hit our repeater from all the way on the other side of Albany. And they were able to hit our repeater from way over there. So it just depends on how high you are and what is in front of you in the line of sight of communications. Whether it's simplex or if it's a repeater that you're trying to reach to. Because if there's a mountain and if there's trees and high buildings in your way, it may block your signal. You may not be able to hit the repeater too good. So being up high is really matters. But I'm able to talk 8 miles. I'm able to talk 8 or 9 miles on an HT, on simplex, and hitting the repeaters too. And it carries my signal even further. It'll allow me to talk to people even further than that. And that is just amazing. That is just blown on how far you can talk. And you just sometimes you get surprised. It actually surprises you on sometimes on how far you can get out. But anyway, I don't want to make this video too long, but I just wanted to share my experience with an HT radio and how well it works for me. It may not work well for you, or it might not work well for others, but it does surely work well for me. And I'm very happy to be a licensed ham operator. It allows me to be able to communicate and be able to practice my amateur radio skills and communications. But anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed this video. Feel free to hit that like button. And thank you for watching. 73s.